Hello, everybody. I am here to show you a not clickbait boat. It is fully electric. It runs on steam, generating the power, and it generates enough power to overcome the load required of these electric motors. So, we'll turn it on, and I will show you what I mean, and then I will get to... Fuck. I will get to showing you how to build it. We have a tsunami to get into open water for. Because I don't want to land on one of these docks. Alright, come on. Heat up, heat up, heat up, heat up, heat up. Oh, are you gonna get her? Are you gonna get there? Are you gonna get there? Okay. We got it. Alright. Alright. So the boiler is running high enough to make the steam. Wait, hang on. I think I can outrun this. Alright, you know what? We're in open water. Just take me. Just take me. Whoa, okay, we are very, very airborne. Alright, okay. Well, this is just a wonderful intro. Anyways, as I said, it runs without losing electricity. I will demonstrate without getting tsunamied. Alright, now that our boiler is up to 100 degrees, you'll see our electric starts going up. And we will drive. And you'll see that our electric motors aren't pulling more electricity than we're generating. And I have driven these ships that I've made for several hours without having to stop for a refill of water or anything like that. As far as I can tell, it is the most efficient closed system creation that you can have, because it is perfectly efficient. It generates its own power that it needs to go. You don't need any sort of outside fuel, no coal, no diesel, no anything. So, yeah. Now I'm going to show you guys how to make it. Alright, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. We are going to get started here in the, what is it called? The creative base. We just need to make sure we're doing this in a large dock because it is a medium-sized ship. You could probably cram this into a small dock, but I'm not gonna. You guys can do that. Alright, so once you get into your workbench, the first thing you're going to want to do is make a medium-size hull. I'm going to do about 15 meters. You'll need a good chunk of room to work, and you want to make sure you're still buoyant. Because buoyancy doesn't work in Stormworks the way it does in real life, where it's density and stuff. In Stormworks, you basically have to have captured air. So we could get away with making it smaller in real life, but it also wouldn't work in real life, and it's a video game, and stop. Okay. So I'm just going to make my preferred round bottom hull here. If you're new to Stormworks, this is a good way to do it. If you are experienced in this game, you can use your own methods. Once we get into the actual Steam stuff, I will be putting a timestamp in the video, so you can just kind of fast forward to that point. But if you're new, stick around, you might learn something. So, yeah, we'll do that. And then we are going to do 1, 2, 3 high, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if you are new here, one of the biggest tricks in this game is converting these polygons into something round. Because when it comes to fluid dynamics, you want to have a round object passing through more than you want a, like, polygonal object. Polygonal? Is that a word? I don't know. Because of the way aerodynamics work and all that, I guess it's better for you to have a rounded object. like a ball rather than like a pointed object with a sharp corner. And that does reciprocate in Stormworks to a point. So we are going to... I'm actually going to demonstrate my little way that I like designing my ships here. So, gonna get that. Gonna toss that in here. Go like so. 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 Screw that up first. It's a very important step. Oh. All right. And this isn't going to be a pretty ship. It is going to be pretty ugly. I'm going to be totally honest with you here. But we are not so much worried about aesthetics at the moment as we're just doing a demonstration. Think of it like a tech demo. All right, now we gotta get this guy here, this guy here, this guy here. And then I'm going to give it a false floor so we have something more to work with. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the motors set up. With this vehicle, it uses two, what are they called? Medium electric motors without any energy loss, as long as everything's running as it should. So we are going to... Sorry, did I say 3? I meant 2. We're just going to get this set up here. There we go. Medium. Sorry, my dog was making a funny noise. All right, and now, once we are out here, we will do pipe cross. Actually, one thing we need to put in here is a clutch. We'll get to that later. This doesn't use clutch slipping to go any faster. That's kind of an OG bug in this game. We don't use that. This is a bug-free, non-exploity ship. So, all right, we got the prop set up. We got the motor set up. That's all good. So now we got to get the steam. So here, what we're going to start with is we're actually just going to go over everything that you need to know to make a steam build. So, for steam, you need something to heat up water to convert it to steam. So you need a firebox. You got a firebox, a large firebox, a diesel furnace, or an electric furnace. Fireboxes use coal, diesel uses diesel, crazy. And electric is what we're going to use because this is a totally green, no fuel consumption ship. We're actually going to scoot this forward a little bit more, right about there. Now, what we are going to want to do is the next step is to get a, not a turbine, a boiler. Because we're actually not even going to be using a turbine at all. I will explain in a moment. So now... All right, so on your furnace, you're going to have 2 ports. You're going to have your coolant out and your coolant in. Now, the term coolant, technically correct, but it's misleading. It's going to be pumping hot air into the boiler because it uses a air-to-fluid heat exchanger in here where it's using air to heat up the water. So we are just going to get the piping set up for this, and we'll kind of explain all the parts and what they do as we go along. So, as you can see up here, we have coolant A and coolant B. So we're just going to be running in to B and out to A you can swap those around, doesn't matter, as long as it's a closed loop. That's all that really matters. There we go. All right, now we're going to use these straight pipes. Boom, 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 boom. So I just like building things into the floor. I don't necessarily like having pipes going everywhere. If that is your building style, I'm not going to judge you. Outwardly. All right. So now that's set up to run hot air through our boiler. The next thing we have to do is get a actual fluid system set up for the boiler. So on this side, you'll see you have water in and steam out. So liquid fresh water goes in, then it boils it into steam to send it out here. So what we're going to do before we mess with the piping on that is we are going to get our pistons installed. A steam piston is a better alternative to a steam turbine. So there's two ways that the power is handled in this game. As in real life, there's your RPS, your revolutions per second. In real life, you're probably more used to hearing RPM, revolutions per minute. And then you have your torque. Your RPS is going to be how fast it's spinning. Your torque is how hard it's spinning. There's plenty of other people that can break it down a heck of a lot better than I can. I have a basic understanding of it, and I'd be a fool to try to explain it as if I know what I'm talking about. So go ahead, look that up if you have more questions on that. Now, what we want here is we're just going to put down one and take a look at it. So on the bottom, you'll see your RPS. This is where your actual power is going to be getting transferred from. And then on the side, you'll see a steam out and a steam out on the same side, and then a steam in and a steam in on the same side. So this is set up so that you can, since it has a power input on both sides, you can just kind of set them up like this if you want. I don't like that. So what we are going to do is we're going to set it up in a row of 2. So we're going to go 2, 4, and 6. Now 6, after 6 you kind of get diminishing returns, unless you want to get involved in like using gearboxes and pumps and all that stuff. But 6 is perfect for what we need it for, which is powering these 2 motors and any other accessories we have on this boat. So the first thing we're going to want to do here is get our steam into the pistons. So you can see our steam out is on the outside, our steam in is on the inside, which is exactly the way I wanted it. So we are going to get this set up here. So we're just going to connect all the steam ins to each other. So we're going to go boom. Well, we're going to screw it up. Undo that. Okay, boom. Boom. Why is it being weird? Okay, there we go. And then we got to get you there. Then we're going to do a cross corner here. And then we are going to do like this here. So then once we come back in here, oh, looky there, they're all connected. So this menu here, it's really nice for if you're building symmetrically and you're trying to get into those tight spaces. It's a lot easier than just moving the camera around, which can get annoying and, you know. So now we're going to go directly below it. And this is where we are going to put in our steam piping. Oh, hang on, I'm in the wrong thing. There we go. Gonna get back into our pipes. There we go. There we go. There we go. And there we go. All right. Then we will get our straight pipes in here. And then we will pipe up to this fella. All right, now we got to do the steam out. So there's one more step we got to do before the steam out, and that is running it through a condenser. So in real life, you don't really need a condenser on a steam system, because what a condenser does is it takes the steam and it just condenses it back down into water by cooling it down. In Stormworks, it you can't really make an effective steam system without it. At least I've never been able to. So here, before we do that, I'm gonna get this connected up here. Boom, there we go. All right, so we are going to put, actually first, we're gonna work ahead a little bit here. We are going to give us some room to put the condenser here, so we're gonna pipe down. Okay, and then we will pipe straight. All right, so we'll just have that set up like there. And we are going to put our condenser over here. Actually, like, we're gonna do it kind of weird here. All right, so steam in. Yep, that'll work well. Okay, so on your, oops. On your condenser, you're going to have your coolants, the steam in, and water out. So for the coolant here, this is where you're actually going to be cooling. So we're just going to put up 2 of the basic bitch radiators. Just use like a little T pipe there. Boom. There we go. Get rid of these. Done. Now we got to get the steam from these into here. So all we're going to do for that is, believe it or not, we're going to use more piping. I know that might be crazy sounding, but this is a lot of piping because you're literally working with steam, water, and torque, which are 3 things that require pipes. So, hope you like working with them. All right, so we'll go here. Yeah, let's put it into the ground. I always like putting things into the ground. Then we'll grab the T. We'll do it like, is that the right way? Yep, right there, right there. And we'll grab the straight pipes and put it here. All right, angle, boom, 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 boom. Grab the T, boom, boom, boom. Grab some straight pipes, run that down, run that down, run that down. All right, so we've got that loop set up. Now we need to take the shit. Oh, that's not gonna work. Oh no, you know what? I'll just edit this. Okay. So we're gonna just do this. Here. We're just gonna take this and bring it up so that way we can do what I wanted to do initially over here. So we're going to use the section cut again for this. So we're going to use the pipe angle, put it here, and we're going to do this, and then we'll run it over. Oops, that's right. Okay. Go here. All right, pipe up, boom, boom, and then there. So that's complete. Now we gotta fix what we had to alter here. Yes, because now we'll just maybe hit the right buttons. That'll help. There we go. Actually, you know what? We are going to use this again. There. All right. So now we've got the steam inlet hooked back up. We've got the water out, coming to here. Now, one thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we have an extra supply of fresh water for this, because you can run out of steam if your ship takes damage. So if you're playing like the Search and Destroy DLC, or you're really bad at driving, or you get attacked by the Kraken, you could lose a bunch of your steam, then you'd be stranded. So you want extra water. And you are going to do that. All you really need is a medium tank. These things are a dime a dozen. And then you're just going to make sure it's filled with fresh water. And you want to make sure that the water is going into the water after the condenser. And we're just going to check to make sure that is the steam in. Correct. All right, so now we will take this and we're just gonna pipe it directly over to this. We're not gonna do any crazy fancy nonsense. We are just going to put it directly into it. There we go. So that is our steam system. So that is an entire loop of steam that generates power in these pistons. Okay, well, we'll go from the start. Heat goes into the boiler. Water goes through the boiler, turns into steam. Steam goes into the pistons and generates power. Steam goes out of the pistons into the condenser, which condenses back into water, which goes back into our tank, and then that's the entire loop of steam power. That, in essence, is how every steam generation plant works, whether it's coal power or nuclear power, both in-game and IRL. So now we are going to actually make the power generation. I'd say we bring it together about here. So we're not exactly cramped for space, but we might as well make it nice and tight. So we need the T-pipe here. That ought to be it, right? Yep. All right, now gearboxes. Gearboxes are what make this entire thing work. In case you don't know how gearboxes work, this arrow is the direction of this ratio. So the arrow, the fat part of the arrow, is the bigger number. So 2 turns on the fat side equals 1 turn on the skinny side, is the best way I can think to put it. And what you can do with these gearboxes is reverse them. So that means that this number flips. So 1 turn on the skinny side becomes 2 on the other side. We're going to do 3 to 1 backwards. So we need 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you got to make sure you change them all to 3 to 1 right away. The cool thing about gearboxes is if you put it in the ratio off, you don't have to hook up any logic to it. It will just always do this ratio off 1. All right. And then on here, we are going to put our medium generator. So the reason before that I said we're using the pistons is it generates more torque than it does RPS. These gearboxes are converting that torque into RPS. So this thing will be spinning so fast and generating so much power because these pistons are here to provide enough torque to spin this big generator fast enough to overcome the amount of energy that's used by these 2 motors here. All right, so I think that's just about everything we need for this setup, apart from the batteries, which we'll be getting to. I don't think... there is one thing I'm missing. So, something that I've discovered in this is your condenser that you have with these radiators. It uses the ambient air temperature to cool down the water inside. So if the ambient air temperature in here is too hot, it's not going to cool as effectively. because you need this device to stay below 100 degrees. In Stormworks, they use Celsius, which is 100 degrees is the boiling point of water. So you need to make sure it stays below 100 degrees. With this furnace running here, it is going to get well over 100 degrees in here. And these won't cool effectively, and your steam is going to stop functioning entirely. So the easiest way to hide all of your problems is to build a wall. So we're just going to make sure that's completely closed. And we're going to put a couple of doors in here. So that way we can still get through and kind of watch everything work. Here, let's actually do this, because I'm a sucker for aesthetics. It's probably not even going to be that aesthetic, but okay. We'll do that. And then here, we're just going to do this. All right, then we'll seal up the door. And there we go. Then we'll do this, do this. All right, so now we can get through those doors. Oh, I never got rid of my back wall here. Oh, whoopsies. Here, let me just undo my little whoopsie here. All right, now we will take this. All right, actually we can trim this down a bit. So let's see, if we go here, here, and get rid of that. Nope, we don't need to get rid of that. And go back. Okay, we need to go up by 1. So we will boom, 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 boom. All right, everything fits right under there. Goes right up to the roof. And then we will, now we can get rid of this guy. And we can shave down this wall. Actually, let's just shave it down 1. And then all right. So there we go. We've got our boat. And now we just got to hook up the electrics and take care of a couple other minor things. Oh, before we continue, we have to edit these pistons. So these pistons here, they just have one option, is a rotation offset. It's how far along its rotation that you want it to start. If you have them all at 0, you will never get them moving, because you will just, there's too much force required for you to overcome. And we need to get them separated. So we're going to do that by offsetting them. So you have 3 in a line. You go from -5 to 5. That's a difference of 1. 1 divided by 3 is 0.33 repeating. So that's what your offset is going to be. You're going to have one of them at 0.33, and then the other one doesn't really have to be in any particular order, but I just like keeping it symmetrical. So 0.33, the middle one can be at 0, and then this one is going to be -0.33. So that way you are evenly around the drive shaft, or the crankshaft rather. All right, so those should be all set. Oh, and with your boiler, here's what I mean. Like, you have enough water in there to do the boiling, but supplementing it with a tank of water it's just a good idea. All right, we've got our everything in here. We've got these all set to 3 to 1, 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 3 to 1. All right, I'd say we are good to do the logic. All right. So now we're just going to put down a way to drive this thing. Going to put a helm. Ooh, and actually we should put some ladders. So that way we can actually get on the boat. And we don't have to take a mighty leap off of the dock. And then we're just going to add a few dials and a couple of buttons. So we got 3 dials. There and there. We're going to have this one be our boiler temp. Because the boiler, we got to get that to 100 degrees. So that way it actually starts generating steam. So that way we can see when we're going to be generating power. This one here, we're going to have it as our speed. Let's just take it about 20 meters per second. Because this isn't a terribly fast craft, but if you get it set up right, you can go pretty quick. And this one here, we're going to have this be our electric readout. That just goes from 0 to 1. If you play with advanced tooltips and you look at anything that consumes electricity, it'll just tell you anyway, but I use simple tooltips. So I just like having a dial for it. All right, and then here, we don't got to worry about anything on there. Boom, boom, boom. All right, next we got to worry about the buttons. I prefer using keys. I don't know, it's just, it itches something in the brain. So this one here is going to be a, what do we want to call this? Furnace ignition. And we're going to take it and we're going to connect it to the furnace. And this guy here, this is to turn on our props. So remember the clutch we put down here? That's on purpose. These motors, when they're spooled up, take a minute to get back to 0. So it's really hard to just stop. So by using a key there, you can activate the clutch instantly, and it'll instantly cut off power to the propellers, and you will begin slowing down, and your motors will still be running. It's also a great way to have like an emergency stop if you're driving with the trim set to go all the way forward, and you come back to it and you realize you're about to crash into something. It's a great emergency stop. So we got to do a little bit of logic here. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your microcontroller. And we're just going to call this clutch button. And you only need 2 slots. You need an A input from key, an on-off input from key. And then you're going to need a number output to the clutch. You're going to come on over to the logic. So here we are in this. Now it's just going to be a simple, small switch box that we're making here. Because there is a default switch box you can make, but since you can create your own microcontrollers, you can make it even smaller. So we're going to do that, and then we need 2 constant numbers. One number being 1, and the other being the default of 0. So when it's off, we want it to read 0. When it's on, we want it to read 1. And then we're going to go from the switch box to the clutch. And that is it. So we're going to save it. I'm going to call it a little switch box because I already had this from a different one that I had made. We're just going to overwrite that. Back out of here. Then we're going to go over here. We're just going to type in, what did we call it? Key. Oh, what do we call it? Clutch. We had that word in there. Yeah, clutch button. There we go. And we are just going to put that smack on top of it. Now, from this, that's the prop one. We're going to run it to there, and then connect those two, and that is it. Now we just got to get everything else here logicked up. So boiler temp, boiler temperature, electric. Oh, we didn't even put in the batteries yet. Okay, let's do that. So with the batteries, there's a post online that I had seen. I don't remember if it was in the Steam community or if it was on the Stormworks Reddit, but they spoke about the power output of batteries. I don't understand electricity like at all. It confounds me. So I'm just going to do my best to give you the layman's terms. Every one of these batteries, even the big one to the small one, all output the same amount of electric charge. I guess they output 600 units of electric charge per probably tick per second. I'm not sure. But these electric motors here consume, what is it, like 750 units of electric in that same amount of time. So in order to have a fully powered electric motor, you need to make sure that you are sending out at least 750 units of electricity. So to do that, we have 1200 units here, and this is going to be 2400. So we've got enough, but just for the sake of I don't know, being extra, I guess, we're going to put in 6. And now we are going to connect the battery, or the electric level, to the charge in the battery. And we need to put down a speed sensor. With the speed sensors, you can put them anywhere as long as it is pointing to the direction of the travel. Then it'll tell you how fast you're going in that direction. So if you like put it sideways, it'll tell you how fast you're going sideways. It's weird. So that's actually, wait, no, I think that's incorrect. Yeah, I think it just tells you. So I guess the point doesn't really matter. Okay. Anyways, now for the electric, or wait, we're just going to hook that up right away. Boom. There we go. All right. Now for the electric. I have found the best luck with this system interlacing all of the batteries. Like so. So making sure each one is connected to the other. I don't know if that actually does anything, but it really seems like it does. So we're just going to connect everything to the electricity. And if you don't know how to just rapidly click connect stuff, you hold down Control and click on a node, and then it just brings up, you can just click on the nodes. You don't have to click and drag, in case y'all didn't know that. So I think we're just about done. Let me just give a final, oh, we are not just about done. We need to put rudders on, and we need to connect our W and S to our throttles. So for the rudders, there's a fun little way you can do the rudders that I'll demonstrate here. So with your bottom rudder, you're going to want to rotate it the right way. So you want it to go clockwise to turn right. Now, if you're going in front of the center of mass, and you want to make that same turn, you want it to go counterclockwise, like so. So that way we have two things that are turning it. And then we grab one of the new keel parts from the sailing update. Just grab a medium keel. Put it, you want the thick end forward. This is a pointy end, that's a thick end. You want the thick end forward. Put it right about where your center of mass is. Boom, you are instantly significantly more stable and much more bottom heavy. All right, now we just got to hook up the A and D there and there. Then we're going to just take our electric. We'll just connect that directly to the battery. And you know what? We'll connect this to the clutch. All right, I think we are good. Oh, we need a way to get down there. So we are just going to take a ladder, turn off the symmetry, and go up. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Take a hatch. Hatch. There we go. All right, I think that's it. Yep, we got our little separator wall here. We got our logic hooked up. We don't really care about the temperature of it because it's going to be running constantly. We should never have to worry about fuel as long as we got everything set up correctly. And you don't really have to worry about it in any of this other data. You should be fine. Oh, and if you haven't played with Steam for a while, since the space update, they removed one of the most annoying parts of using Steam. So your boiler would explode if you went over a certain temp or a certain pressure. And it was just the bane of anybody's existence trying to make a Steam setup. They got rid of it, so now you can pretty much just have as much steam as you want in a system. There's still a hard limit, as water is a non-compactable resource. So we want to not worry about that anymore. Because you used to have to make like a valve that would automatically go off if it got to a certain pressure threshold, and then it would have to vent out, and holy crap, it was a pain in the butt. I never got it to work. So I think we're about set. Let me just make sure all the electrics are connected up here. Why do you guys have your little lights? Oh, you're not. All right. Yeah, they're not, their lights aren't on. All right, I think we're good. So we're going to spawn in. I'm just going to open up the creative menu. Override to weather. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. And you can see here we don't have infinite electric on. We have infinite resources, so it doesn't cost money. And yeah, we should be good. So let us take it for a test run. So since we didn't spawn this in at all and look at it, let's go in here and take a look. So here's all our batteries, here's our furnace, here's our boiler, the wall to separate it all. And in here we have our pistons, our generators, and our 2 medium electric motors. Alright, we're going to come up here and we're going to ignite the furnace. And you'll see it'll start making our boiler temp go up. And you'll see our electricity is dropping. Alright. So this is going to get really, really hot. And then our temperature here is going to go up and up, and as soon as it reaches 100 degrees, it will start churning out steam. And as you can see, as soon as it does, the pistons start moving. And the condenser is warming up because it's cooling down the steam, and our generator is putting out tons of electric. Look at how high that RPS is. Holy buckets. Alright. Because these things are only moving at 0.2, 0.3 RPS. But all of these gearboxes work multiplicatively. Yeah, look at that. In 6 gearboxes, we go from 0.1 to 87. So, we're going to go back up. Our beautiful fully charged batteries. I'm going to go on the helm, and we are going to turn on our propellers. And then, we're going to accelerate. Now, don't expect this to be a terribly fast setup. You can play with the props and how many motors you want to use. But as you can see here, we are accelerating. Well, we're going about 15 meters per second here. That's roughly like 32 or 33 knots or something. Oh, 16 now. Holy buckets. Oh, this is faster than the one I made in my normal world. Yep, 17. Because I think a knot is 2.2. Yeah, it's meters per second times 2.2 or something like that. So we're going about 35, 36 knots, somewhere in there. Which is really, really quick. Especially for something that doesn't consume fuel. So we're just going to go back down in there. Take a look at how everything is working. Got our furnace cooking away. Yeah, 365 degrees. Alright, that's cooking. Then in here, got our condenser staying a nice 57 degrees. That is a little toasty. 'Cause I've run these ships for quite a long time, and I've never had issues with them overheating or losing power because of the condenser. So might be worth keeping an eye on and maybe using one of the cryo coolers or something. But I didn't feel like it. It's just more of a proof of concept. So as long as you can keep that condenser cool, you will be able to run forever. All right. Well, I think that about does it. Yeah, we are maintaining the 100% electricity still and going pretty dang quick. So I think I'm going to leave her there. It might be a little bit ugly of a boat, but you know what? Who needs attractiveness when you have functionality? This has been Very Handsome Gamer, and I will be signing off here. Hope you guys learned something today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and most importantly, I wish you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful... Where did my game go? That was scary. All right. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. All right. Take care, everybody. Actually, I lied. We're not leaving yet. I want to see how this thing does against the tsunami. Alright, how's it gonna do? Oh god, we're a submarine. Alright, we're gonna stop it. Oh my god. Okay. Alright. Oh, we landed it. Okay, this is the best boat ever made. The single greatest boat to ever be crafted in Stormworks. Alright, now we're leaving for real now. Goodbye.